into the online broadcast network, AFTERBUZZ TV. Over 20 million weekly downloads in over 150 countries, and your #1 source for after-show entertainment. AFTERBUZZ TV, the destination for TV superfans, producing after shows for over 300 of your favorite TV shows, interviewing celebrities and showrunners, and bringing you behind-the-scenes exclusives. All thanks to E! Entertainment's Maria Menounos, producer Kevin Undergaro, and internet leader Akamai. Now, let the buzz begin!
Let's talk about sex, baby. Let's talk about
Hey guys, I'm Jon Manganello, and welcome to AFTERBUZZ TV. This is the after show for Season 2, Episode 2 of American Crime. Oh man, I have a beautiful panel with me today. We have a full panel today. If you watched last week, I wasn't here, and Nick wasn't here.
I wasn't here either.
But we're here now.
And we're happy to be here.
Yes,
How was it holding down the fort last week,
you know,
guys?
it was a little scary without the other two
I get that.
very
come
important
on.
people in our lives.
No, I'm sure you were just fine.
Erica, in effect.
The Ericas are here. It's the Erica show. Why don't we start with our first Erica down there?
Hi, I'm Erica Jaye Green. You can find me on Twitter at Erica Jaye Green, all of that, Facebook, all of it.
What's up, guys? I'm Nicholas Grava. You can follow me at Nicholas Grava, Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, too.
I'm Erica Renee Davis. You can find me on Snapchat, Periscope, Instagram, and Twitter at Erica Renee D.
And once again, I'm Jon Manganello. You can find me on Instagram and Twitter at Johnny Mangs.
Dramatic effect.
Yeah.
And Twitter.
Yes.
That's my news reporter voice.
I like it. That's really good, actually.
You guys, we have so much to talk about today.
Yes, we do.
Don't we say that every week, though?
We do.
But it's true for this
Yeah,
week
for
as
the
well.
show.
I'm so happy to be back. American Crime is one of my favorite new shows, and it's in its second season. This season I am loving because it feels very different and very similar than last season in many ways.
I completely agree with that.
Oh, you do?
Yeah.
I just said the most general thing ever.
No,
so
but I
think
really
anybody
have
could
actually
agree with that.
thought about that before. Like the way it's filmed and the style feels
Yeah.
the same, but it's such a different story. And seeing all these characters play
Totally.
such different roles than we saw them in season 1.
I completely agree. Do you want to start with this?
Yeah.
A more general topic, maybe how this season compares to last season, I think might be an interesting point of discussion.
Yeah, we did that a lot, too. But there are some people that commented that they haven't watched the full season 1 yet.
Well,
Oh, well, y'all,
watch us
y'all got
do.
some work to do.
First of all, that's fine because it's not like we're spoiling anything.
Okay.
True, we're not.
And also,
spoiling
you can
it.
always go back. It's on Hulu. It's on ABC.com.
Well, yeah, and because it's a completely different storyline, people out there who haven't watched American Crime season 1, no, we're not spoiling it for you. But come on, we're gonna make references to it.
Yeah.
And so,
Yeah.
spoiler alert. Here's your general spoiler alert. We're gonna be talking about season 1 sometime. So,
I think there's going to be natural comparisons simply because this show deals with so many different themes, but it seems like this year and last year they're going to have some themes that overlap and then bring up some new themes, which I think is great too. Like, for example, this season is focused on rape allegations, which we didn't really get last season. Last year was a murder, was a drug deal, was things like that. And I think
There's a rape, too.
There's like a
oh
All of
yeah,
that
there was
in
a
there,
rape
yeah.
last year too. Yeah.
Sure, I should specify. It wasn't like the central theme
Yeah.
of last season. And I think that this is a really, just like last year, felt so timely with Ferguson, with you know, things like
It's
that.
crazy,
It
actually.
is. We talked about how last week, well, in December, if you guys out there were watching last week, you heard us talk about it, but there's a high school in Tennessee, a high school basketball team in Tennessee, men's basketball team, and they are going through a very similar situation where the high school varsity boys initiated a younger boy and raped him with a pool stick. This happened 4 weeks ago in Tennessee.
Yeah.
They raped him with a pool stick. The boy had to have surgery. He had some internal organ damage. So it's so ironic because this is happening right now. And this was filmed months and months ago. So like, why are kids even thinking that? I can't even,
But
I can't.
I think just like last season, it speaks to John Ridley and everybody who creates the show's ability to capture American culture. Like, it really is a sign of the times. And I'm glad that something mirrors, some form of art mirrors what's going on in the world right now.
You know what I have to say, though, which I think is crazy and is a testament to what this show does? They shine light on things that we've seen other shows represent or talk about in these, but I feel like it's just so much more real and gritty in the way they do it. And I don't even know exactly how or why. I don't know if it's the writing, the acting, or just everything that comes together. But even the first season, each topic they hit, like, I watch it almost as like a documentary in a way that I feel these people are really dealing with these things. I don't know why. Do you guys get that same feeling?
Yeah, I think me and Eric talked about last week about how they showed it in a different light. Like, they were talking about the rape, but from a male aspect. And I liked how Taylor's mom brought it up. She was like, "This is not uncommon. It's something that's going on, but they don't show that much light." Because when you say a male, they started off the episode with her talking to the police officer, and they're like, "A male? Oh, okay." Everyone got uncomfortable. Are you sure he got raped? Are you sure he didn't put himself in that situation? And how people really view males being in that type of situation, being rape victims.
So I think that is going to be a central theme throughout the second season, if I had to place a guess, because the end of this episode specifically dealt with that. And I thought that was really interesting, and it seems like that might go into like gender roles, and we'll talk about gender this season as well, maybe more than we did last year. I do want to, let's start with that, because I think that's a good jumping off point. We have Taylor and his mom, Anne, right? I know at the beginning of every season we got to get all these billions of names right. But Taylor's the son, and Anne is his obviously concerned mother. We start out this episode with Taylor not wanting to talk to the police, and Anne saying, "I want you to talk to I want to talk to the police." And the police say, "Well, I want to talk to your son." She says he won't talk to you.
He doesn't want to do it.
I think it's interesting that he's refusing to talk about it. Someone did bring up an interesting point on the YouTube and in questions. They said, "Well, why are we assuming that he's a victim? Like, how come we're not assuming that he, in the beginning he was texting the guy?" I don't want to take it there because that's downplaying the victim's part. So
we mentioned that last week because he very last season we were given all these facts and we were never really shown who done it. We had to draw our own conclusions. But and as far as you were saying, Johnny, he didn't want to go to the police. I understand that. I mean, I'm empathetic towards that. I mean, I've never been a victim of sexual assault, but I can only imagine the shame. Or let me take a step back. I've never been put in a situation where someone thought I was the victim of sexual assault, because he might not be the victim, like we just said.
Sure.
So I can understand why he wouldn't want to go to the police. He's a boy. He's going through puberty. He's in high school. He probably wants to be popular. He has a girlfriend. Maybe he has a boyfriend too. He doesn't want his life, exposed. He doesn't want to have character assassination. So I get it why he wanted to keep his mouth quiet.
It's for him, and I think it's interesting what you said is him being quiet a sign of maybe there's a deeper story, or is it just that he doesn't want or feel comfortable with? And that's what I thought was interesting with when she was talking to her therapist, when he was like, well, maybe he doesn't need to talk right now. Like, maybe you should take it. And I didn't even think of it. I'm like, okay, this happened, then go to the police. Like, let's get it done. Let's figure it out. And then I'm like, oh, wait, should you be waiting for him to process it, or what is the protocol, if there is a protocol and the right way to handle something like this?
That's interesting, because it brought up a question to me: is she doing the right thing as a mother? Because he's asking her, he's clearly saying, "I don't want to be part of this. I don't want this to be drugged in the light." She's going to the media now. So I had a thought to myself, what is he going to go through? And as a high schooler, that was our world when you're in school. That's so much to you.
That's your whole world right there. Exactly.
So that could pretty much destroy him more than this is over now. So is she doing the right thing as a mother? And I know as a mother, all we're concerned about is doing the right thing for our children. Like, I have to go to the police. This happened to my son. So that's what in my head, I was like, I wonder what viewers are thinking. Is she doing the right thing by pressing it?
I don't know. I think her as a mother, but even in the first season, we see that sometimes these characters aren't doing things necessarily for that specific, but for the broad. Is she doing this? And I don't think she's even aware yet, but is she doing this not only to help her son, but to shine light and show? I mean, she clearly, I think, has some resentment on this school. She doesn't feel like they belong fully, and I think that could be something that's going to come up, is why, what are her intentions? And we dealt with that last season too.
And even if her going to the media is a little bit, I guess, exaggerated of a move, because we live in a social media world now, I can appreciate her going to the media first so she can spin the story as she needs it. Because the pictures are out there, the Snapchats, whatever. A Snapchat, I don't know if this is what they use, but whatever. The social media pictures are already out there. So why not go to the media as a concerned mom and say, look, I'm going to tell my version of the story. I'm going to tell my son's version of the story, in the hopes that we can get some real facts versus reading it on Twitter.
But that's the thing, Erica. She doesn't have all the facts. So what if the more of the story that comes out is negative towards her son?
Yes.
This could crush him.
Yes.
You know, suicide rates are high in high schools, and especially with stuff going on
Like
that
this?
pertains. Yeah, definitely.
It's interesting because similar to last season. Sorry, I'm gonna do it. That's how I do it. It's season 2, not season 1. Similar to last season, we have a strong female character feeling victimized and going to the press. Last season, Felicity Huffman's character did that. Barb did that. And I was sort of watching like, don't do this. This season, I'm on the side of Anne. I'm saying, honestly,
Go.
No, you aren't. You both think go
and
to
let me
press.
tell you why.
Why not?
Let me tell you why. Let me tell you why. I have reservations about what I'm about to say. First of all, Taylor obviously doesn't want to speak, and I think it's the victim's prerogative. So in that sense, no, I don't think his mom should go to the press. However, I do understand that as a parent, you have to make difficult decisions sometimes. And sometimes your child doesn't agree with your decision, but sometimes the parent knows best. And I don't know if Anne is right, but I think Anne thinks she is right.
Yeah.
So I appreciate the conviction.
I don't know.
I can at least appreciate her taking care of her son. Whereas last year we had Barb going to the press and it seemed more about Barb's issues.
Okay.
Barb made it about her. Whereas I truly believe Anne at least has the right motives.
Okay.
I
agree.
I agree to that to an extent, but when she talked to the reporter and when she said, please don't put his name in there, I'm saying, okay, I'm with you right here. And when the lady said, you understand, it's going to be very easy to track this back.
True.
And she said, yes, that's fine, let's move with it. I get you're a parent. You have to make difficult decisions, but that decision is going to affect your child far too much, I think, for you to... I think she overstepped at that point.
I would rather it be in the paper. I would rather go to Oprah or to, some credible. And and again, like you said, the media, the story that she tells the journalist might not even really be the factual story, but at least she can get ahead. At least she can spin it the way she needs to spin it to protect her child. And so, yes, everyone's going to trace it back to him, but they're going to trace it back to him anyway. Because
I agree with you. Yeah, I see what you're saying.
I'm interested.
Yeah, no, the only thing I wanted to say about that, the reason why that triggered something for me, because there's a common theme with everyone who's speaking to her about this situation. They're like, are you sure? Every single person she has came across that's talked to her about what's going on with her son has said, are you sure you want to do this? Are you sure you want to do this? And she's hesitant. And if you're hesitant, wait.
Yeah, why you
like,
examine.
You're not in a rush. This is something that could... is going to affect your son's life, so why not wait? You know?
And they have already done the rape kit, right?
Yeah.
So
they just
we have that. We have what we need done in terms of like time sensitivity.
Yeah.
So maybe let Taylor have a moment before it's taken to the press.
Did you realize how the contrast of how it was filmed when she's talking to the reporter compared to when she was talking to the detective and the nurse who was doing their... They never showed. They never showed the face, a clear hold shot of them talking, whether it was the nurse doing the rape kit or the detective. It was always sort of just like a vague figure, which I think, to me, I'm like, okay, that conveys how there's not really that connection there.
Okay.
It's very process oriented. And then she goes and talks to the reporter and it's a clear shot of this lady ready to listen, ready to have a relationship. And I was like, I wonder if that is significant on their relationship, on how, if someone goes to the cops, how they feel. Like cold, they don't care, you're passed on to the reporting officer, the detective, the nurse. Well, is no one going to take point? Is no one going to have some sort of... That would piss me off in the situation.
I also want... That's a really interesting point.
But we're going to move on.
No. I just think that's that, and I think you're right about that. I think they do a good job of that thematic filming all the time in this show. So I'm glad you brought that up. I hadn't noticed that.
Thank you so much.
Now that being said, shut up. No, I just wanted to bring up the fact that Taylor confronts Evie. Is that the girlfriend's
his
name?
girlfriend.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I didn't
about
know her
talking to
name.
his
About why she showed his mom the pictures. And I thought that was interesting. Evie is like the important character in my mind. I want to hear more about what she has to say, and she's on like very little of the episode.
I think she's going to unfold later.
I think so too, and I like her because she goes to Thurgood Marshall High School. So, just generally speaking, we can already see that that's the underfunded school.
Yep.
And just to put it frank, it's an underfunded school.
Yeah.
It's
That's
not
the public school,
it's
right?
a public school.
Yeah.
So just based off of stereotypes, I think Evie has had a rougher life. We saw her mom, her dad, we saw her living situation. So she probably has a lot more street sense than does Taylor. So I'm interested in seeing her perspective and seeing basically how she coaches him into handling whatever it is that happened, because she's probably the character who's, from the hood, more or less,
I'm surprised. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
I'm surprised. So I agree 100%. And she, to our knowledge, was at this party. So because of what you said and that she's at this party, I'm wondering, well, why wouldn't she have stepped in sooner? I understand you're away from your friend or this and that, but if you have that knowledge of what's going on and what's happening, I think we're really, was she really there? Was she? I don't know. I think we're going to learn. She's really going to help us put pieces together.
I think it's an interesting dynamic that she has with Taylor. I don't see them as boyfriend and girlfriend.
Me neither.
I think that's his best friend that covers up for him, who's constantly doing that. She had to come up off the pictures pretty much because the mom was texting her and badgering her about it. But I think she's just the person that's really covering up for Taylor, covering up whatever Taylor's side of the story is definitely going to unfold, and we're going to see that he may not be, and I'm going to say may not be so much as a victim as we think he might be.
Well, there's no way they're going to have a full season where Taylor is the golden child who's just the victim. There's going to be shades of gray here, and I'm excited for that. I mean, maybe I'm wrong about that, but just like last season,
I'd be surprised.
There were times when I sided with every single character, even the people I thought were totally bad at the beginning, and the people I thought were totally good at the beginning. I do want to talk about the victim window a little bit more, just because I know I mentioned it earlier, but let's just to make sure we cover all our bases here. The victim's window is when the victim is ready to speak. The victim can speak.
Yeah.
Do you guys think that Taylor should speak up now, or do you think it's his prerogative to wait?
I think it would be more helpful to the situation if his goal was to, see who's accountable for this and have them really go, get what they should if they did this to him. If he doesn't speak, I understand it's his story, it's his truth, it's whatever happened. He can do that when he wants. But definitely if his goal is to have these people that did this to him, get justice for what happened, the sooner the better. Before, even when she said, do you have the clothes that happened? And no, they had already, she thinks, maybe washed them, maybe they have them. The rape kit, will it help them at this point? It's been so late. I think all of things, time really does affect it.
Well, I don't know on that one. We see in the news right now what Bill Cosby is going through. He didn't speak up immediately. Now there's so many conflicting stories that are going around. We don't know the truth from the facts and the lies. So I think when you don't speak up, and I'm not saying that this is something you have to do as a victim, but let's take a step back. As society, we're going to look at you and think you're guilty. And that's just the facts of it. If he doesn't speak up, he's going to look like he has something to hide.
Yeah. It's interesting because I don't want to victim blame, and I'm gonna have to be careful of this all season long, because it's easy to say, Taylor, just talk. This is important. Just say something.
And I think that's how his mom feels too with that same exact thing. I think that's the normal response.
But isn't that victim blame? Isn't that saying, hey, this horrible thing that happened to you, I know they call you white trash, I know they pick on you, I know you're the odd man out. Oh, but now you have a responsibility to be the bigger person.
Yeah. Well, I don't look at it as him needing to be the bigger person. I look at it as just having communication so that later down the road, let's say he wants to, in 7 years before the statute of limitations expires, he wants to press charges, if that's even how it works. I don't even know. But let's say he wants to wait 5 or 6 years before he actually pursues a legal case against these people. At least he would have given his statement within a timely manner, so that there won't be any confusion or ambiguity about whether or not what happened or didn't happen. So you can press charge, you can pursue the legal case whenever you want to, but I think you have to talk, you have to tell the facts as soon as you remember them, so they can be clear and not be convoluted by the process of time passing by.
But isn't it going to make a difference? Is it going to make a difference if he was passed out cold when all this stuff happened? If he tells it today or tomorrow? Why?
Oh, if he tells it today or tomorrow?
If he tells it now or later.
Yes, because I think they're going to see, like you said, his silence as guilt. Well, or anything he now suddenly comes up with. They're going to assume, well, why didn't you tell us that then? I think we all have an assumption that if something was wrong, you tell it then, and if you don't tell it then maybe you made it up. Maybe you had that time to think about it, and this is now a lie. I think that's going to be pressed upon him from the police. I think we're already seeing that.
And even if the truth was the truth, that he was sexually assaulted, if the longer he waits, it doesn't, this is human nature. We start to forget things. We start to forget details. We start to forget relevant things, even if, especially in a time of like something that is so dire and severe that happens to us. We're going to forget. We're going to shut those memories out. So he should have gotten it out like immediately if that's the truth. And that goes back to why is he not speaking?
Because I think he doesn't think it's important enough to destroy his reputation at school.
See, I think he knows it's important. I think he knows it's important to speak. I just think he's choosing not to because of something that we haven't been shown yet.
Cover up for the boys. That's what I think.
I think he has a deeper, I don't want to say alliance, but I think he has a deeper relationship with someone who may get hurt in this or something. I don't think it's just him saying, this is a big event, I'm not ready to speak.
Yeah, I agree, but I don't necessarily think that the reason he's not speaking is because he's not guilty.
Well, I didn't say he's, okay.
I think he just needs to go ahead and talk. Whether guilty or not, I think he needs to.
Totally. I agree. I want, like I said earlier, I want him to speak, but I also don't want to victim blame him if he doesn't want to speak. I don't know.
It's
tough for me.
It's funny not funny, but it makes sense what you said is when she talks to the press, the loudest voice, I feel like the first voice and the loudest voice, society tends to get with and get behind, even if it's not a true story. If that's the first one you hear and you see them the loudest every day, you're like, oh yeah, that's probably it. A couple months later, someone else comes front, you're like, no, come on. Like, we see that.
And we know how important trial by press is.
Yeah.
That's, I think anyone knows that, even if you're informed, if you're not informed.
Yeah,
but
it's tough. It's a difficult situation here. And I'm really interested into seeing how this plays out. I want to put a pin in the Taylor and the Anne part of the episode and move over to Leslie, Felicity Huffman's character. She is all sorts of interesting. There's a lot to unpack here with this character, and in my mind, she is playing another delicious, almost like, you know what? I don't want to label her behavior yet.
You can label her.
Well, I think Felicity Huffman does a great job of playing these victims, these flawed victims, or flawed villains.
For sure. Yeah.
So, okay, let's talk about her. What do you guys think of what's going on in her life? She seems really money hungry in my mind. She seems like she's trying to play the game. She's a strategic dean or school leader.
I think to her credit, I think how she got to where she is by being strategic and by not being so empathetic, and I think she needs to make some hard choices. I mean, this school is not just any other school. It's not even just any other private school from the numbers that I'm hearing of the fundraising. It's a lot of money we're talking about. So to see that she's now worried about not only her reputation, the school's reputation, I think as bad as it sounds, if you're looking at a collegiate level, I think there's some people that really would approach a situation very similar to what...
I think on any high level, anything, whether it's politics or business, corporations, the president of a supermarket chain, I think that you have to step on people, and I think that you have to play dirty to get what you want. I really do believe that. I don't think that a Donald Trump or anybody, I hate to say Donald Trump, but anybody who's achieved that much success in business and in finances hasn't done it by playing clean.
Yeah, you've done some stuff.
You've done some stuff. And so, unfortunately, in her situation, the kids are going to be the pawns in her most recent game. That sucks, but she's doing what she's always done. She's being strategic. She's using her sex appeal. She's playing both sides of the fence, saying the right things enough so if the authorities come to her, she can say, "Well, I did say this. I did take notes."
Right. She checks those boxes.
Yeah,
she knows what she's doing.
She tells Dan, the coach, Timothy Hutton's character, that he needs to suspend one of the captains, and the reason why she chooses Eric as opposed to Kevin is that Kevin's parents donate money, I guess,
and she doesn't want to mess with them.
I mean, listen, I understand what you're saying.
That's real life, though.
Right, that's exactly it. That's real life.
We're talking about rape. We're talking about students. We're talking about some messed up things here, and I don't know that it's time to play
wrong.
The game.
It's definitely wrong, but don't think for a second that this is not happening. Yeah.
I'm sure it happens all the
Penn
time.
State.
And Penn State, exactly.
There you go.
Sandusky. He was raping little boys for 25 years.
Right.
He had a setup situation for people who were abused to take in. So he had like easy pickings of people who were
Yeah.
traumatized.
God, I didn't even know.
And did you guys see Spotlight?
No, not yet.
It's great. It's a great film. It's about child molestation in the Catholic Church. And listen, I get it. Institutions have to do what's best for them. But what's best for you is not destroying the lives of the people who make up the institution.
And I just wanted to say, I think in her mind is justified because she's thinking, I'm thinking of the bigger picture. I'm thinking this one kid, this one kind of not as rich as the other kids. He's not as important as these other kids. We need to look out for the basketball team. We need to look out for the kids whose parents are bringing in all the money.
Yeah.
I think that's what she's thinking in her mind. Oh, well, I'm doing what's right for the school.
Imagine
Not
if
really.
Kevin claimed that he was raped. And first of all, Taylor has still not spoken to Leslie. Am I correct?
Yes,
Correct.
you're right.
So he has not filed a formal complaint. So maybe things would be different if Taylor had talked to Felicity Huffman's character. But it seems like Leslie is not taking things seriously. She keeps calling it an incident. She keeps saying like, oh, we're going to do this, and this, and then it'll all go away. And I'm sorry, but that if you are running a school, I think you really need to be more delicate with issues like this.
I think that, I don't know that she's not taking it seriously, but it's like, I don't know if you guys have ever been around someone and they get a cut on their head and you're like, no, it's not bad. Like, you're okay. You don't want them to freak out. You don't want, and I think that's what she's scared of. I think she always has her eyes a year, 2 years, 3 years in the future. And that's where her priority, you could say, I would never believe if she was telling me her priority is the kids. No, her priority is her job, her school, and the reputation. So in her mind, she's acting appropriately.
Yeah.
She doesn't want the word rape to get thrown out. She doesn't want the basketball, which might be a great draw for the school because of this team. And I think all of that, she could lose her job. She could, and she's worried about number one. And I think that is sad in life. That's what people are dealing with.
And as a woman, I mean, Felicity Huffman, as a woman, she should be more empathetic towards when the word rape is being thrown around. But again, like you said, Nick, she's not, because her concerns are not the students. And again, I think we see that in major corporations, big wigs, heads of, state, whatever, all the time. I think it happens every single day. It's not about, let me take care of the poor or the underprivileged or the underserved. It's like, let me take care of the people who are funding my operation. Yeah. And it's not
it ain't Taylor.
Yeah, it's not Taylor, and it's not the other boy they were going to pin the rape on.
Yeah, Erica, do you think also with you saying that it raised an interesting question for me. Do you think she's also being that cool head, level head, and handling business the way that she is because she is a woman? She has to show that she has to be stronger than the males that are around her. There are a lot of males that answer to her, and she answers to maybe a higher boss that might be male. So she's trying to show that, hey, I can be the strong woman in this authority figure. And this is how I'm handling it, with a cool head and not, getting all worked up over it and not getting this other parent worked up over it. I find it very interesting the way she's handling it. She just always is like, we're laid back about it. Like, okay.
Do you think if this character was played by a man and this character was a male character, this character would approach the situation differently?
Oh, I think that's definitely.
How
we talk
so?
about having a woman president. Would things be handled differently? I think we have to look at it from that way. Everyone is a different person too, and then you add in gender and race or whatever, how they were brought up, and all those play. It plays into how you're going to handle things, how you handle your business, just like any of us.
Right.
So I think definitely it would come into play if it was a man handling the situation, how he handles the coach and how he's handling the other parents and stuff like that. So yeah, definitely.
What did I want to say about this? Another comparison to last season. Felicity Huffman plays these characters who feel victimized, right? Even though they're in my mind, positions of power. So like last season, she was talking all about how like people are mean to white people and how white people get the short end of the stick because, reverse racism is this huge problem, blah, 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 blah. This season, she's complaining to her husband about how people don't like rich kids.
Yeah, what was the, I wrote down the quote.
Yeah,
it was
I
like,
wrote down too.
If your kids come from means, you're not supposed to care about them or something like that.
Yeah.
That's what she was saying.
I'm
And she
sorry,
brushed her
lady.
teeth for 5 minutes, the whole
We want to
long-
talk about, if you want to have that conversation, fine, let's have that conversation. But I'm sorry, people do not care about rich kids.
Well, okay. I'm gonna play devil's advocate.
Please,
okay.
please.
So in the superintendent, the board meeting with the Thurgood Marshall School. Someone also said no one cares about these kids because they're poor.
Yeah.
And then Felicity Huffman says on the other side, no one cares about these kids because they're rich. To support Felicity Huffman's character's statement, I kind of see that. I kind of see that middle class people look at rich people as being so privileged that I don't have to help you because your daddy's going to pay for you. I don't have to help you with your essay to get into college because your, mom is a legacy at Yale,
Sure,
whatever.
sure.
So I think that while rich kids do have an easier road because they have the money and the resources to succeed already, they might not have some of the one-on-one authentic guidance that every 17-year-old needs and deserves. Because someone middle class somewhere is thinking, oh, they don't need my help. They'll be fine.
I get that, and I'm so glad you're playing devil's advocate here. But I think I don't know. It struck me as strange that instead of staying up and complaining to her husband about, oh man, what if this kid was raped? She's staying up and saying, oh man, people hate rich kids. It just seems like the priorities are a little out of whack, and maybe that's unfair of me.
Well, let me ask you this. Do you think that that's not something behind closed doors in every family, no matter what status they are, that they go to these stereotypes? I mean, in my experience in life, whether with my family, other families, people use stereotypes. And if it's the poor talking about the rich talking about the poor, I think that's sadly in our human nature to say, oh, we're not treated. Oh, can you believe that? Of course. And I am surprised as a viewer being like, oh, like so open and honest. But then again, I'm like, I don't know, behind closed doors, am I surprised that's what she's talking about? That's her psyche. She doesn't want to deal with the rape. She wants to put it like that and try to like close it up.
Definitely, yeah.
Let's talk about another school official or a teacher, a coach. Timothy Hutton's character named Dan. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's
Dan Sullivan.
What's going on with his daughter? Because this is a plot point that I'm interested to see how it ties into the bigger picture.
I immediately was. I was just like not in it. I don't know. I feel like there's so much going on that I'm like they're walking around the drugstore talking about sex, and she watches porn and it's giving the sex, and I'm like, okay, I don't know. Like it's not, to me, it's not moving a story along at this point. I think the writers are very smart in the show, so it will. I don't think it's the type of show that has extra fluff.
Right.
So I don't. But at this point, I'm just like, I don't know. I don't get it. It doesn't make sense to me yet.
I think many times we see her in even on the screen is with him, the coach. They're having a conversation with her. So I think it's to show us how he handles stuff. You see, when he had started having a conversation with her in the store, he's all started, well, let's have this conversation. You know, he does it really awkwardly, like he's not really wanting to do this. And of course, lots of fathers don't want to sit down and have that talk with their daughters. But every time we do see her, I don't really know her point in this show right now. But every time we see her, it's with him and their association and how he's dealing with her.
But we can see that there are budding themes of sexuality.
There are.
There.
Yeah.
So I'm sure it will tie in. I'm interested as to how, but right now I'm a little lost.
I would like to say that as far as Dan and what's the daughter's name? Becca? Is it? As far as Dan and the daughter are concerned, from that conversation in the drugstore, my biggest takeaway was talk to your children about sex.
Yeah.
And I know that everyone's different. I know everyone parents differently. I don't have kids, but thankfully my parents were very open with my sister and me about sex and drugs from an early age. Like even in my household, I'm getting a little bit too graphic, but we didn't call like penises pee-pees. Like we called it a penis. We didn't call vaginas cha-chas. We called them vaginas.
Let's cut to the point.
Well, you missed out. Your family missed out.
So I'm like looking at the 17-year-old who's talking about, oh yeah, I watch porn, Dad. But okay, so what that you watch porn? I think this
Also, like, really? Did you need to say that to your dad?
you know what I'm saying?
Dad, I learned from porn. I watch
Let's just
it.
all assume everybody watches porn.
Exactly. And that's fine if she watches porn. But to me, the biggest takeaway from the drugstore conversation was talk to your kids about sex. It's never too early to talk to your kids about sex. 17 years old, when your daughter is twerking in front of the basketball bench.
And you're
at school,
recording it.
and you're recording,
It's
that is
shady.
unheard.
At first, I was like, shady. What are you playing?
It's been proven that children and young adults who get a good, well-rounded sex education are less likely to have mistakes, have unwanted pregnancies, get STDs. you know, you get period. And you're like, I'm clean. I'm not pregnant.
Clean STD free.
And you heard it here.
So I agree. Like maybe this is a community in Mid-America. And I can say that because I'm from Mid-America. I'm not like an elite, like, oh, I'm from LA, Mid-America. I hate when people do that. But Mid-America.
I'm from LA.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I get it. Like, maybe this is a community that doesn't have an open sex.
What did you think about
talk.
Kevin and his mother? Is it Terry, I think?
Terry, yeah.
So she was like, do you have
let's talk
sexual
about that.
relations with this? So there's a lot of things that I can talk about with her, but just staying on this sex subject. And then she was like, well, what do you want me to call it? And she started to have this, I thought, honest talk with him that they could joke and laugh because it doesn't always have to be let's talk about sex.
Yeah.
Like really
the conversation was let's
She's like you
let's
bumping and
jump to that.
grinding or something. That's what I called it. I guess.
And she also said things like girls are hoes who want your money.
Yes.
I was like,
Yeah, she said a
whoa, like
lot.
that is harsh.
But
That
it's
is a
true.
harsh criticism of
Reality,
girls.
Okay, wait,
are
wait,
real.
here we go. Wait, before I say true or not true, I'm not gonna pick that sentence.
Girls
I think,
are hoes
Hold on.
who
Some
want your
girls-
money.
All girls.
Some girls are hoes. They want your money.
I think it's
Some
really.
guys are hoes who want your money.
I think everybody's looking for it, but I think it's important to see that this is why to see that, like, behind these closed doors conversations, this is why Kevin is going to have a certain outlook on life, is because this is what he's being preached to. You know what I mean? And I think from everyone hearing how, what's her name, Becca's dad?
Yeah, Dan,
Then
yeah,
we see
yeah.
how each character, no wonder everyone's going to grow up like Leslie. What were her parents preaching to her? You know, what were
True.
they saying? I think that's really interesting on how we develop.
How about Kevin's girlfriend being pissed off when she had to give the bracelet back because it cost
She was-
$900?
That's crazy.
And he's like, Mom, what's $900? I'm like, what's $900? Bro, really?
Listen, I was Team Terry on that one. No
Yes.
child of mine is going to be spending $900 to
Agreed.
give anybody
Of my
anything.
money.
And if you spend it, you are going to go get that thing back. You're going to take it back.
Was it his parents' money? Because I thought maybe it was
Yes.
like
No,
it
sketchy
wasn't
money,
his
like
money.
where the money
credit
come
card.
from.
His credit card that they gave him, of course.
Yeah.
And
Okay,
of
okay.
course, you may know, what is she giving you for that $900 bracelet? Because guys always expect something. So I love how Terry is on point. She is not holding
liked
back. She's like, this is what it is. I'm being truthful with you so you know what's up. Go get that bracelet back. Ain't gonna be no nookie around here bringing babies home. My mom was the same way.
You
So
know?
I love it. Terry's on point.
Terry's character has this sort of like racist, I don't want to say racist, but a racially fueled run-in at the beginning of the
yeah, I
episode.
forgot about that.
The car.
Oh, yeah.
So it's funny to me, just like last season, you have that undercurrent of race, but it's not just about race. It's
Yeah.
about so many other things. So I love that it weaves the theme of race in with all these other themes that they're getting at here. It's a really complex show in that way. I
And
think.
the whole the theme of socioeconomic status is huge. Like for Terry to be able to go to her office and call the police, the detective, to put in a phone call to say, watch out for this person whose name I
Yeah.
don't even know. He's like, yeah, I'm gonna watch out for you, anything for you.
Ken was like, I'll do it. I'll give him and then he was like, yeah, maybe we'll give him a hard time or something. He said something in that regards to like, really?
Yeah.
After like, is it even worth a phone call? I don't know.
I love,
yeah.
and I also love how they noted how informed she was, how she took the video, immediately took the video because
Yeah.
she knew she could use it if anything came from this situation. And as we saw in last season, that was a ongoing thing that
Yeah.
if you're not informed, you can get in trouble. So I love how they showed that she immediately was like, okay, yeah, scream. What do you gonna say? Like people are doing with police officers these days.
Yeah.
They're taking the videos. You have to do it these days. It's sad, but you have to.
I want to jump now to Eric. Let me make sure I'm getting that name right. Eric is the
tall guy.
captain who is
Yeah.
not Kevin, and yeah, he's the guy who's getting in trouble. So Eric is an interesting character, and unlike last season, we have a gay character, which I think is kind of cool. Because last year I was like, are there going to be any gay characters?
There was not. Yeah, no, there wasn't any.
And he had a lot of interesting stuff going on. I want to talk about the first moment of the episode where we see him. It's obvious that his parents are divorced, right? And he's being sort of passed off.
I was like, are they dealing drugs? Is he like backing up his mom on a drug deal?
I
Like,
think
what's
that was
happening?
intentional. It felt very
To
like.
feel exchange,
Yeah.
not love. And okay.
But then the dad says that he needs to start showering and cleaning himself. And I was like, what is going on here? Do you guys have any, you can make any sense of that?
My first thought was he was telling him, I haven't seen any girls around. So you need to start showering, smelling good so you can start dating.
Yeah.
That's what he said. So I was like,
I see.
that was the first indication to me, okay, this character might be gay. So
Yeah.
that's why
He
I
said,
feel so
didn't
dumb
he
for
say
not
something like, or else
recognizing
you're
that.
never going to get anyone
Yeah,
or something in
exactly.
that
He's like,
regard.
I don't want a
funny.
girl
Yeah,
that I can be
exactly.
thinking have a guy.
Yeah. Okay.
I think that's what that exchange
It's
yeah.
like, no, I'm
Well,
showering.
no, here's
don't
my
worry.
question.
I'm showering, and the boys, I love it. I get that. It's like when I went home for Christmas, my mom's like, so where's your girlfriend? I'm like, well, she's not coming this year or any year because, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry, where were we?
Wait, question about this. When Kevin and Eric, when they were outside having that
yeah.
conversation, do you guys get that there's a deeper knowledge of each other or
yeah.
something going? I'm like, maybe I'm pressing that and I'm just
yeah.
assuming it, but it seemed like they both knew something.
Thank you for bringing that up. I think they are definitely hiding something.
Okay.
Do you think
Just
they're having
what?
a sexual relationship
That's
with each
what
other?
I
maybe
jumped to just because like we're talking about it and it's there, but I don't actually think that. I think it's the easy target. I think maybe someone knows something about someone else. Someone's caught something.
Okay.
And do you guys think, I know it's maybe a little too early for this prediction, but do you think that Eric has done if anybody is sexually...
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I'm just trying to be really careful with
Just
my
go.
words.
Just go
If
for
if
it.
the rape happened,
Yeah.
do you think that Eric was involved in it? Because he seems pissed that he's the one getting suspended.
I think that he and Taylor may have hooked up prior to the party. The way in the very first episode, the way Taylor was like kind of looking at him like all coy, looking at his little phone, giving like the googly eyes on the court. I think they had been hooking up before.
That's what I got that right away.
So, and to even take it all the way there, like maybe they had intercourse or maybe they had sex before the party, like some days before, and maybe some of Eric's DNA is still in Taylor's booty.
Whoa, I didn't even think of that. So then and that's why this dude. Whoa. Didn't think of that.
Can you get different DNA from someone's booty?
I mean,
No, that's what I'm saying.
Hang on, let me ask Siri. Siri, can you get two people's DNA from
cannot.
someone's booty? I want to know. I want to know. How do you know if
Because
it's...
remember they
There
were
have
like,
been
we're-
twins born with separate DNA strands.
No, I don't believe that.
Oh, it has happened, man. My
Like
girlfriend's an adoption lawyer. I know about.
Whoa. Okay, I'm gonna take the source and say, yeah, you go. Okay, no
You're
argument.
so adamant. No.
So
Yeah.
then you can. So they can get different DNA.
But then
samples.
remember how they were like, we need to get your DNA for your
Yeah.
blood to narrow out like what's yours and what isn't. So I'm sure they'll see what is different. But do you think it was when he was in the car with this dude and I don't think he knows the dude yet, and he was aggressively sort of starting to hook up and he's like, no, I don't like it like that.
Yeah.
I thought that was a red flag to like, okay, if he doesn't like, I mean, it seemed like he doesn't like a forced whatever, I would assume rough for lack of better. Maybe that, I'm like, does that track back to something where he has a bad experience with it
I don't know.
or been
I
blamed
think
to it?
he's just right now. He's just dealing with some confusion. But I think
his-
he's
yeah.
being cautious because he's like, well, what if it gets out? I can act like I wasn't into it, and this is what I think
Yeah.
that might actually be part of what plays out in the story between Taylor. Why Taylor was on the ground? Why they were harassing him or whatever happened? Was he gonna expose him if they did have a relationship? Since we did bring that up, was he about to expose him? So they were like, no, they had to shut him up. So who knows? I'm very interested to see how this story unfolds.
I also noticed that when they're about to start riding in the car, Eric says, I'll beat the hell out of that bitch, but I'm not gonna wreck it.
I know. I heard that too, and I was like, that was like a very macho, misogynistic. Like that's what you hear like dudes say. Like I'm gonna beat that bitch. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, okay, Eric,
right.
but okay.
He says it a lot, though. Eric's been saying bitch a lot in this show. He's been saying it. He over-exaggerates bitch a lot.
but
And I'm
that's
just
But
like,
when he says like I'm gonna beat the, I don't know.
Well, but I think so. First of all, that right there, I think, is sort of like a symbol of the character.
Okay.
Like he will do this, but not that.
yeah.
Gotcha.
I will go this far, but not that far. Isn't that what we were just talking
Yeah,
about?
yeah.
Like I'll kiss, I'll do that, but no, we can't go further than that. I don't know. We'll see what happens with
Yeah,
that.
we sure will.
And I also noticed that there were these blackout cuts in the gay kissing scene.
They came up too in other parts throughout the episode.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm just saying also
I didn't know
in
that,
this
yeah.
spot. And then when then there were no blackouts when they decided just to kiss, which I thought was interesting. I love how the show is edited. I think the show is edited very, very strategically.
It is.
And like what you mentioned earlier, they show some faces and not others. I think this editing is like, as soon as you think it's going to get like super sexual, they cut away. But when we realize like, no, it's just going to stay here, it's going to stay like first base, second base?
First base.
I'm not
'Cause
really
isn't second
brushed
base
up
like
on my bases.
that? I don't know. I think first is kissing, second is like breast.
Groping,
Groping.
touch.
Third is.
Third is that.
Got it.
Yeah,
And then
that's
home
the
is
first.
all the way home.
Yeah, you go home.
Anyway, we got to wrap this puppy up, you guys. Oh my gosh. I bear with us. I remember the beginning of last season thinking like, oh, we didn't get all our stuff done. But you know what? That's just how it's going to work. This show is so rich and full, and I'd rather have a really fun show than a really boring show.
Agreed.
Do we have any predictions before we go?
Ooh, predictions.
Your AfterBuzz TV predictions.
Please.
Okay. I predict that next episode we are going to see Kevin's involvement with the rape / party, and I think that maybe the little girlfriend that Terry doesn't like might know something that could either help or hurt Kevin.
I want to get more information out of Evie. See what's up with that, because she is the only person I can think of that's a definite witness. So we'll see what happens with her. I'm interested in that.
I'm going to make the prediction. I want to see a lot of stuff, but I'm going to say that my prediction would be at this moment, I'm excited to see how as more truth from everyone unfolds, as more kids tell their parents something, how the position will either change or not change no matter what they know. If they'll always say, my son is not guilty, whether they know he isn't or isn't, to see where people's alliance and allegiance is going to lead. I don't think much will change for some reason.
Allegiance.
Yeah.
Yeah, I keep saying it, and I'm like, allegiance. Yeah.
And the wife.
Oh, they got an inside joke
Hope
here.
is in there. I saw her.
Okay.
We hosted Allegiance. That's another story.
Sorry that we weren't invited to that party. What's your prediction?
My prediction, or something I would like to see, is Taylor speak up if it's the truth, or I just want to hear him say something.
Do you think
I
he
wanna-
will?
Hopefully
Yeah.
he will. I mean, he has to.
Maybe not
About this point, we
publicly,
can't
but
go
he'll
back
tell
and-
us,
yeah.
the audience.
I don't think he will. I don't think he.
We can't go back and forth with.
Well, I think he's gonna be like the.
We're angry. We're throwing
Who was
things.
the character that the dead girl, the girl who was in a coma last year?
Oh,
Yes.
I think he's gonna be her
that
this year.
like a hidden gem to pop.
He's never gonna say
Gwen,
anything.
right?
Gwen.
We're waiting for Gwen to wake up.
Gwen is not gonna say anything.
We are waiting for Gwen to wake up.
While we wait for Gwen to wake up, we want to keep the conversation going with you. I know we didn't talk about every single character. We can do that online. How do we do that? Well, you can tweet at us or comment on our YouTube page. You can find me at Johnny Mangs on Twitter and Instagram.
You can find me, Erica Renee Davis, on Twitter, Instagram, Periscope, Snapchat at Erica Renee D.
At Nicholas Grava, Twitter, Instagram, and Snapchat.
Erica Jaye Green at all social media.
Thank you guys for watching. Use the hashtag ABTV
American Crime. We'll see y'all later.
See you guys.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.